the gut is now recognized as the single most important factor in terms of gout. But hold on, isn't it the food I'm eating? Haven't you ever noticed that the person down the road from you has twice as much of all those foods you want and you love and the things that cause you gout, and you have half as much or even less, and you get it, they don't? What is it? Well, it's not the food, but what happens to the food in the gut, the digestion, and more importantly, the gut microbiome. And so we now know very, very clearly that this gut microbiome, those 100 trillion microorganisms in your large intestine, play a critical role in creating the gout or not. And why haven't we been told this? This is 2022, even 2023 research is now showing this. And to convince you, all you got to look at is the drug, allopurinol, which is the main one they use on gout. And what they find in a couple of studies is that when they've given people allopurinol, it changes the gut microbiome to be more positive. A good gut microbiome. In fact, it builds up the number. One particular bacteria called bifidobacteria, you've all heard of that one. That's the one you get in yogurts and the probiotics and so on, and it builds it up. So it actually works. Part of its benefit is by working on the gut microbiome. Wow, that's pretty interesting. And then when they give allopurinol and probiotics at the same time, it actually has a synergistic benefit. It actually helps lowering the severity and the symptoms and the bouts of gout when the two are combined. That's fantastic, isn't it? And then just probiotics on their own also change the gut microbiome and reduce gout. The experiments, 4 weeks on probiotics, 8 weeks and even longer periods all show a reduction in the gout severity and symptoms as a result of it. But that's just a fraction of what you can really do to improve your gut, to reduce gout and get rid of it, eliminate it. And then the studies on symbiotics, which are probiotics and prebiotics, kind of like fiber. When you combine those, it benefits even further as well. It magnifies, synergizes that benefit on the gut microbiome and lowers the incidence of gout. And the final one, which is the kind of the coup de grace, so to speak, is a wash microbiome transplant. And that's when they get some healthy poo, feces from some people. It's cleaned up, put into people who have gout, and very, very soon after, the gout starts to reduce and disappears. That's called wash microbiome transplant. It also used to be called fecal microbiome transplant, FMT. And doing the poo swapping, I'm not a big fan of that. I prefer doing these ones, but the poo swapping shows instantly benefits on gout. So we know that gut is so critical. And then you wonder, okay, how does it do or make those actions? And what we know is when you have the right microbiome all wrong, it alters everything to do with uric acid, indigestion, right through to getting it out of the body. And so the first one is production of uric acid in the gut increases, okay? So all the red ones here are when you've got a sick gut, what's called dysbiosis, and the blue ones when you've got a good gut. The uric acid production in your gut, yes, the production of it in the gut increases when you've got dysbiosis and decreases when you've got a healthy gut. The uptake of it, so getting from the gut into the blood, increases when you've got gut dysbiosis and decreases when you've got a healthy gut. Wow. Now the same thing happens here. By the way, that happens obviously in the gut, in the large intestine primarily. And then you've got the internal production. Our body actually produces in the liver uric acid. Because uric acid isn't the bad guy, it's just a good guy that's out of balance. And so the liver produces it. And when you've got a good, healthy microbiome, it leads to a decrease in the production of uric acid in the liver. Because the gut talks to it, sends out certain chemicals and talks to the liver to say, okay, decrease uric acid production. Now the other thing happens here is the internal production. If you've got dysbiosis, the red one, it goes up, because it's sending chemicals to the liver and it's overreacting by producing uric acid. So again, then we get the breakdown. And once it's in the blood, once it's in the body, in the blood and circulating around, ideally you want to get rid of it. And when you've got a good healthy gut microbiome, the blue arrow, it gets rid of that elimination. It increases elimination and breakdown. It breaks it down faster. When you've got a dysbiosis, it slows that breakdown. So it's circulating in the system a lot longer. Wow. And then you've got the final part. So these are the 4 stages of uric acid. And in the blood, going into the blood and getting rid of it. And elimination is the last one. And in the kidney and gut, they're the 2 main elimination organs. And when you've got dysbiosis, a sick gut, then the actual elimination goes down. And when you've got a healthy gut, it goes up. It's a win-win situation. So all we're going to do is get to this blue one here, and we end up with, decreased intake, decreased internal production, increased breakdown, and increased elimination when you've got a healthy gut. Now, the other aspect of that is when you're looking at the gut microbiome, if you've got a gouty gut, that is, you get gout regularly, and it causes flare-ups and signs and symptoms of it, then you've got gut dysbiosis. That's a dysfunction. You've got leaky gut. In other words, some chemicals are sneaking through into the blood and causing the liver to produce the increase in uric acid. And then you've got an increase in oxidation, increase in inflammation, which is a redness, not just in the toe or in the elbow or in the joints, but all through the body. And so it increases inflammation, increases acidosis, and as a result, increases gout, but also increases the risk of metabolic syndrome. All those other conditions like diabetes and stroke and heart attack as a result of atherosclerosis. So, which is what happens with the gouty gut. So we want to look at how we convert the gouty gut. Now on the good gut, it's the exact opposite. It leads to increased gut repair. The leaky gut starts to fix up. And you lower inflammation, lower oxidation, lower acidosis, and you decrease the risk of metabolic syndrome. So if you're a person with gout and you're trying to fix and you're fixing your gut up, then you're also lowering your risk of hypertension, atherosclerosis, the plaque on the artery, diabetes type 2, and so on and so on. That leads to decreased pain and increased repair, which is what you want to achieve. So how do you create a good gut? It's quite simple, just following some basic strategies, but it's about consistency. Follow the channel below, subscribe, check out all the other gut videos I've got on there because they will give you more information to actually improve the condition that you're working through. But the good gut, first and foremost, is a little bit of sunlight and lots of exercise. The overwhelming evidence shows that exercise, to a degree, outweighs even having a crappy diet. Now, I'm suggesting in your case, you want to improve both of them for the very simple reason they will work synergistically together. So getting that exercise, getting the walking, getting the gym, getting the swimming, whatever you prefer. But no matter what, you have to do that exercise because that actually talks to the gut and tells the gut to work well again. The good bacteria breed up when you're actually exercising. It's quite funny, that connection between the exercise and gut. Then you've got these other things like probiotics, and they're an absolute must. And the 2 main ones that show up in the literature are bifidobacterium and lactobacillus. There are some specific ones they've used in the studies. They may not be readily available for public though, they're used in studies. But a good probiotic and a lot of probiotics, consistency of the probiotics. Prebiotics, which are the foods that feed them. So they're the kind of the fibery things that people talk about, fiber, adding more fiber to your diet. And my favorite is, of course, kfiber.com. Check it out. Then you've got symbiotics, which is a combination of these 2. Symbiotics is where you've got probiotics and prebiotics. So they have the food on the way down. And when they get there, the food's there so they can reproduce. Bacteria reproduce probably every 20 minutes or so. So it doesn't take them long to get those healthy populations of not just these 2, but all of the good ones in there. The hundreds of other good ones, what are called commensal bacteria, and rebreeding them. Then we've got phytobiotics, and this is a fairly new term, and that covers herbs and spices, all the nutrients that are in them. And I've got this, there's already too many in there to even begin mentioning, but you'll notice that I've already got a video on Chinese herbal medicine, which shows how effective it is in controlling gout because it's got the nutrients and it works the same way that I've just described to you for fixing the gut because they work via the gut. Vegetables, fruit, nuts, you all know that. And then nutribiotics. And each of these have been demonstrated to actually improve gout. And you wonder, well, how do they improve it? Well, it's not because the fish oils go in and oil you up. It's because the fish oils go in there, create a healthy gut environment. The good gut bacteria breed up and they send the right messages and the chemicals through to your liver, your kidney, your blood, the rest all the way rest around your body. So vitamin C, an absolute essential. There are studies showing that vitamin C at 600 milligrams and above makes significant difference in terms of reducing gout. And people say, oh, but can that contribute to oxalate formation? No. Guess what contributes to oxalate formation? That's the kidney stones, by the way. It's, yes, the gut. And it's a type of bacteria in the gut that cause the oxalate stones to form. Anyway, coming back, vitamin C, B vitamins, that combination, vitamin D, E, and K, all the fat-soluble ones. Extra virgin olive oil. It's got that darker color in it, that dark, rich color. And I add lots of herbs to my extra virgin olive oil as well, just to give it that extra boost in there. And fish oils, without any doubt, all contribute to a better, healthier, good gut that is anti-gout. Now, what causes the gout? It's not just the fructose and the sugar and the alcohol and the certain foods that are triggering it. It's actually the whole overwhelming process where the gut is sent into a state of dysbiosis. And that includes things like stress, overeating. We are supposed to have smaller meals over a shorter period of time. So what I haven't got up here, but I should include here, is fasting is great for getting rid of gout. So anyway, coming back, overeating, eating huge meals too frequently, eating processed foods, and the additives like the artificial sweeteners. A lot of people are on those artificial sweeteners not realizing it's actually poisoning the gut, increasing the risk of diabetes and all those other metabolic syndromes, including gout. So if you've been told to go off sugar and someone tells you to go on the artificial sweeteners, don't listen to them. The science is new, but it's very, very clear. If you do want a sweetener, xylitol shows up as one that's positive for the gut. It actually works as a nutribiotic. So coming back to it, get off the processed foods. Sugar, absolutely no. You've got to cut the sugar out because it poisons the gut. It's the key ingredient in lots of gut illnesses in there, including candida. It also feeds helicobacter and a whole raft of these other things, by the way, which I have videos on already and well worth watching for you. And then vegetable oils, get rid of the sunflower, the safflower, the grapeseed, the rapeseed, the canola oil, all those. They're over-processed oils, and get onto some really simple ones, as I said, the extra virgin olive oil, coconut oil. There's some really good gut healing oils. And so get rid of the vegetable oils and gluten. Cut down your gluten. Now, gluten, no matter what you think, gluten causes inflammation in the large intestine. The inflammation kills these two bacteria, the bifidobacterium and the lactobacillus, and you end up with more propensity to metabolic syndrome and gout. So if you can cut down the gluten, there's a lot of gluten-free products. Maybe you don't have to go gluten-free, but just cut it down a little bit. So the message is really simple. You've got a choice of going the good gut or the gout gut. I've given you some really simple strategies, but following the videos below, following and subscribing below, sharing this, we'll get this out there, and there's a lot more information in there that can really help your health.